Hey everyone, welcome back to our podcast. I'm Alex, your host, and today we are talking about a topic that everyone needs in life: how to solve any problem. No matter who you are, you always face challenges, big or small. So in this episode, we're going to break things down in a simple and practical way. And I'm not alone today. I've got Michael here with me, and he has some great ideas to share.
Hey, Alex, thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy to be here because this topic is very real for everyone. Problems are part of life and we cannot avoid them. But the good news is we can learn how to deal with them in a better way. When you understand problems clearly, they become easier to solve. So today, I hope we can help people feel more confident when they face challenges.
That's a great point, Michael. I think many people feel stressed when they have a problem. They don't know where to start, and sometimes they feel stuck. So let me ask you this. What is the first thing someone should do when they face a problem? What is the first step that can help them stay calm and think clearly instead of feeling overwhelmed?
I love this question because the first step is very simple but powerful. Stop and breathe. Many people react too fast, and that makes the problem feel bigger. When you slow down and take a moment, your mind becomes clearer. Then you can look at the situation in a more logical way. So before doing anything, just pause, take a deep breath, and give yourself time to think.
That's interesting because it sounds so simple, but I think most people don't do it. They panic, they worry, and they make quick decisions. And sometimes those decisions make things worse. So just stopping and breathing can already change the situation. That's powerful. Now, after that, what should they do next? How can they start solving the problem step by step?
After you calm down, the next step is to understand the problem clearly. Ask yourself simple questions. What is really happening? What is the main issue? Sometimes we think the problem is big, but in reality, it is just one small part. When you define the problem clearly, you already solve half of it. Clarity is very important in problem solving.
That's very true. I think many people confuse the problem with their emotions. They feel stress, fear, or anger, and they think that is the problem. But actually, the real problem might be something else. So separating emotions from the situation can really help. That's a very useful tip. Now let's talk about solutions. How can people find good solutions?
A simple way is to write down possible solutions. Don't judge them at first, just write everything that comes to your mind. Even small or strange ideas can help. After that, look at your list and choose the best option. When you see your ideas on paper, your brain works better. This method is simple, but it is very effective in real life.
I really like that idea. Writing things down makes everything clearer, and it also helps you feel more in control. Because when problems stay in your mind, they feel bigger and more confusing. But when you write them, they become real and easier to manage. So guys, this is something you can try today. It's simple, but very useful. Now it's your turn, guys. We want to hear from you. What is the biggest problem you are dealing with right now? It can be small or big. Write it in the comments and let's talk about it together. And if you enjoy this episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support really helps us grow.
Great question from the audience, Alex. I think one important thing is to understand that not every problem needs a perfect solution. Many people wait for the best answer and they waste time. Sometimes a simple solution is enough to move forward. Progress is more important than perfection. When you take action, even a small one, you learn something new, and that learning helps you solve the problem better.
That's very true. I think people overthink a lot. They stay in their heads and don't take action. But as you said, action creates clarity. So even if the solution is not perfect, it is better than doing nothing. And also, I think making mistakes is part of the process. What do you think about learning from mistakes when solving problems?
I completely agree. Mistakes are not failures, they are lessons. Every time you try something and it doesn't work, you learn what not to do. That is very valuable. People who are successful are not perfect, they just try more times. So do not be afraid of making mistakes. Instead, use them as a tool to improve your thinking and your decisions.
That's a great mindset. I think many listeners need to hear that. Now, I want to ask something interesting. Sometimes problems come from other people, like in relationships or work. In those situations, it's not always easy to find a solution. So how can someone handle problems that involve other people?
That's a very real situation. In problems with other people, communication is the key. Many problems happen because people don't talk clearly. So the first step is to listen carefully. Try to understand the other person's point of view, then speak calmly and honestly. When both sides understand each other, finding a solution becomes much easier.
I like that. Listening is something many people forget. They want to talk, but they don't want to listen. And that creates more problems. So maybe being a good listener is already part of solving problems. That's a very useful skill. Now let's talk about something else. What about problems that we cannot control?
That's an important question. Some problems are outside our control and we cannot change them. In those cases, the best thing to do is to change our reaction. Focus on what you can control, your thoughts, your actions, your attitude. When you accept what you cannot change, you feel less stress and you can use your energy in a better way.
That's a powerful idea. Accepting things is not easy, but it can bring peace. I think many people fight with things they cannot change, and that makes them tired. So learning to let go is also part of solving problems. That's very deep, actually. Now let me ask you something practical again. How can someone stay positive during difficult times?
Staying positive is not about ignoring problems, it's about believing that you can handle them. One simple way is to focus on small wins. Every time you solve a small part of the problem, celebrate it. Also, surround yourself with positive people and good content. Your environment affects your mindset a lot, so choose it carefully.
That's amazing advice. And now we want to hear from you again. When you have a problem, what do you usually do? Do you stay calm or do you feel stressed? Share your experience in the comments. And if you are learning something new today, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more useful content. All right, Michael, let's go deeper into this topic. Sometimes people know what to do, but they still don't take action. They delay, they wait, and they hope things will change by themselves. Why do you think this happens? And how can someone break this habit and start taking action when they face a problem?
That's a very common problem. I think the main reason is fear. People are afraid of failure, of making mistakes, or even of success, so they stay in their comfort zone. To break this habit, start with very small actions. Make it so easy that you cannot say no. Once you start, it becomes easier to continue. Um,
That's very practical. I think starting small is something everyone can do, and it removes a lot of pressure. Now let's talk about something important, time. Many people say, I don't have time to solve my problems. What do you think about that? Is it really about time, or is it about priorities?
Honestly, it is mostly about priorities. Everyone has the same 24 hours, but not everyone uses them in the same way. If something is really important, you will find time for it. So instead of saying, I don't have time, ask yourself, is this important enough for me? That question can change everything. Uh,
That's a strong message. I think many listeners need to hear this. Now let's move to another point. Sometimes people feel alone with their problems. They don't ask for help. Do you think asking for help is important when solving problems?
Yes, absolutely. Asking for help is not a weakness, it is a smart move. Sometimes other people can see things that you cannot see. They can give you a new perspective or a simple solution. So don't be afraid to ask. It can save you a lot of time and energy.
That's very true. I think many people try to do everything alone, and that makes things harder. Now let's talk about habits. Do you think having good daily habits can help people solve problems faster?
Yes, good habits make a big difference. When you have strong habits, you think better, you act faster, and you stay calm. For example, planning your day, writing your goals, and reviewing your progress can help you stay focused. Habits create structure, and structure makes problem solving easier.
I love that idea. Structure really helps reduce stress. Now I want to remind our listeners something important. Solving problems is a skill, and like any skill, you can improve it. So don't feel bad if it's difficult at the beginning. All right, guys, now it's your turn again. And we really want to hear your voice. Think about your life for a moment. What is one problem you solved recently that made you feel proud? It can be something small or something big. Share your story with us in the comments because your experience can help someone else too. And if you are enjoying this episode so far, don't forget to like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to support our channel.
That's a great question, Alex. And I want to add something important here. Many people think they need to solve problems alone, but that's not always true. Um, Sharing your experience and hearing others can give you new ideas and solutions. Um, also, when you talk about your problem, it becomes clearer in your mind. So, communication is not only helpful for relationships, but also very powerful for solving personal challenges.
I completely agree with that. And I think this is something our listeners can try today. Just talk to someone you trust about your problem. You might be surprised how helpful it can be. Sometimes we already know the answer, but we need to say it out loud. And that's when things start to make more sense. It's a simple step, but it can change everything.
Exactly, Alex. And before we finish, I want to remind everyone of one simple truth. You are stronger than your problems. No matter what you are facing right now, you have the ability to deal with it. You just need to take the first step, stay patient, and keep going. Step by step, things will get better. Well,
That's a very powerful idea. I think people are too hard on themselves sometimes. They focus on what they didn't do instead of what they did. So maybe we all need to change that mindset a little bit. Appreciate your progress, even if it is small, because step by step, those small wins become big success in the future.
Absolutely. And remember, every problem you solve teaches you something new. It gives you experience, and experience is one of the most valuable things in life. You cannot learn everything from books or videos. Real learning happens when you face real problems and deal with them. So don't run away from problems. Use them as opportunities to grow.
That's such a great way to look at it. Problems are not just obstacles, they are also teachers. And I think that idea can really change how people feel about challenges. Instead of feeling stressed, they can feel curious and ready to learn. That's a big shift in mindset, and it can make life much easier and more positive. Thank you so much, Michael. This was a really valuable conversation. I think we shared many useful ideas that people can use in their daily lives. And I hope our listeners feel more confident now when they face problems. And thank you to all our amazing listeners. If you enjoyed this episode, please support us by liking, commenting, and sharing it with your friends. Your support helps us grow and create better content for you every week. All right, everyone. This is the end of today's episode. Remember, every problem has a solution, and every challenge is a chance to grow. Stay strong, keep learning, and never give up. We will see you in the next episode with more interesting topics. Take care and have a great day.